serious hat on because we're covering a kind of local case to us, and we just really want this family to get all the justice they can.
This is the first time we have a case that happened within like 30 minutes from us. All the locations they're talking about are all places we know, and that adds this whole new level of just personalness to it. Today we were talking about the Jessica Easterly case, and I don't know if you've heard of this before. Until this week, I had never heard of it, and that's like one of the big issues with it. This case is not getting enough recognition, and it only happened within like the last 3 years.
Yeah, it wasn't until I am subscribed to the YouTuber Kendall Ray, and she put out a video because she worked with Jessica's family to make that video, and they called to action everyone to help, which we'll talk about in the end how it actually did work out. But that's how I found out about this case. Even though it's so local, it took me learning from YouTube about it.
And I feel like it's pretty prolific that it should be known. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a case that'll make you mad, and if it doesn't, you need to reevaluate.
Alright, and I do want to keep in mind that, so me and Marina haven't talked about this case yet. We decided we weren't going to speak about it until we actually got on air, because this is one of those cases that'll make you just beyond furious with everybody involved. Do have to remember that nobody has been named a suspect in this case while we're going over this information. Even though all signs are going to point towards one person, we do have to say that this is just alleged information and nobody is guilty until innocent, until proven guilty. You know what I'm trying to say,
yeah.
Right? So just keep that in mind, but let's go ahead and get started.
Yep, so Jessica was born on August 17th, 1976 in Mississippi, and she was actually delivered by her grandfather, who was a doctor, and her parents were Donna and Lloyd Easterly, and she had a baby brother, but he died when he was 1 hour old, and she has two other sisters, Amanda and Audrey, also goes by Audra. And overall, she was said to be a very bright kid, very happy. She was very close with her family. And she was like a Leo to the extent of it, very witty and smart and imaginative, and loved music. She was an all-around great girl, it seems.
And she was a huge pet lover. That stood out to me.
Honestly, if you're not a pet lover, you're probably a sociopath.
100% agree.
And she was raised in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, which I literally go there pretty often, so that's why this feels so weird.
It's right next to Biloxi, and I was literally in Biloxi 2 weeks ago.
And she went to the University of South Alabama and got a degree in audiology and speech pathology. So homegirl was smart.
The weirdness starts happening one day whenever she's on a boat. Wait.
Yeah.
I'm reading that right? Yeah, she's on a boat with a group of her friends. I don't know why I was thinking it was a bar for some reason.
No,
I'm thinking way too far ahead.
But Biloxi, it's on a boat.
So she's on a boat with her friends, and she just encounters love at first sight. She sees this man from across the bar. His name was Justin Durning Jr. And she locks eyes with him, and he looks back at her, and they're doing that thing where they keep catching each other, staring at each other, and she just said she knew it was love at first sight. They connected that night, and they fell in love. It just seems like a love story written in the stars. And then she ended up actually moving with him to New Orleans in 2015 and got married to this man. But she made sure that she stayed in touch with all of her friends and her family, and everything was just a big, happy family. Except her friends and her family had some concerns.
Yeah, they didn't really like Justin.
With good reason. They said that he seemed a little bit too hard trying to be personable, which I know what that's like.
Yes, yes.
That's what her best friend's first opinion of him was. And then we're going to hear a lot from her best friend Maria, but at one point in time, Maria had her kids buckled in her car, and Justin was over there by the car with them. Well, her kid had a cut on his finger and was saying, "Ouch, my finger hurts." And Justin whips out his pocket knife and tells, was it the little boy or was it a little girl?
The little 3-year-old son.
Little 3-year-old son whips out his pocket knife and says, "Let me cut it off for you."
And, like, I get where he's coming from, because, like, you know those weird uncles, like, type of guys that are always, like, trying to joke around and just say weird things?
Yes.
But, like, I can see with, like, everything leading up to then, that probably would have been a major red flag.
I agree, but I feel like taking the pocket knife out might have been like a step too far too.
Oh,
like
yeah.
just saying like, oh, I'll cut it off, and the kid's 2 or 3. Like you're not making that joke
Yeah.
to a 2 or 3-year-old.
Because, like, I feel like 70% of men walk around with a pocket knife in their pocket anyways, but, like, a real man doesn't whip it out in front of a 3-year-old.
Agreed. So Justin actually had a daughter of his own named Gracie, and we're gonna hear a little bit about her a little bit later on. But Gracie was really close with Jessica as well. Like Jessica was basically her mother, even though that was her stepdaughter.
Because, side note, Justin had quite a few ex-wives. I want to say he had 2 or 3.
I know, and I didn't figure that out until like way into this research that he even had ex-wives. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so I imagine whoever Gracie's mom was, they all seemed to realize he was pretty crazy and peaced out.
So New Orleans is about 2 hours away from Biloxi, like the Ocean Springs area where she grew up at. And even though she was kind of close to her family, there still was this distance. So she didn't see like her friends every day. But Maria said that even though they would go like a couple weeks without talking, whenever they did get back together, it was like no time had ever passed. They were still absolute best friends.
And Jessica was kind of like hinting to her friends that Justin was abusing her first mentally and emotionally and then eventually physically. And Maria would try to like coach her through it because she had been through domestic abuse before too. And try to just like tell her like, if you ever want to leave, I'm here for you type of thing. But Jessica would try to like hide the abuse as much as she could because we see it so often. She didn't want to be like forthcoming with information because she had hope it would get better. And she didn't want people to know she was in a bad relationship because of the pain. Like, people are judgy. And if they find out, like, you're in a bad relationship, they're going to talk about it. So she was trying to avoid that.
I have written in my notes here, it's also kind of like if you've ever had like a friend that you had a falling out with, and then you tell your parents about what they did, so then your parents hate them, but then you become friends with them again. It's like it's too late at that point.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to like tell everybody that he was doing this because she had hopes it would work out. And she didn't want everybody to view him negatively. So, like, I really understood that.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate because...
And also, let's talk just a little bit about, like, abuse, like, in the home. Thank God I've never had to deal with this in my life. But emotional and mental abuse is always the first steps leading up to physical abuse. If you're getting abused emotionally or mentally, physical abuse is coming around the corner. Like, it's not far off.
Yeah, so always be aware of the signs. And whenever you see it, if you have that gut feeling that you need to get out, do it early because it's better early than wait and see what happens. So Maria says that Jessica said he would do things to her in her sleep that she didn't agree to, so we can only imagine what that is, and possibly would give her pills to like make her unconscious. And it got to the point where Justin was controlling Jessica and Maria's communication and would make them talk on speakerphone to each other.
So Justin kind of started getting the vibe. Well, it wasn't even the vibe. Maria was very outspoken that she did not like Justin. So obviously Justin didn't want Jessica to speak to Maria at all. So anytime they would call each other on the phone, it would have to be on speakerphone with him listening. Could you imagine that?
That is such an invasion of privacy. Like, every word she said, he probably heard. In her whole, like, last few years, probably.
That's disgusting. So Maria wasn't the only one that was really concerned about this. Jessica's sister Audra was very concerned about him as well, and she made it clear several times that she didn't like him either. And he basically cut communication off for the two of them.
Yeah. And if anyone cut off my communication with my brother, my mom, my dad, I would be like, yo, I'm going to tell you about yourself because I'm going to talk to them. And if I see that you're not letting her or him, I'm going to get involved because I don't want this happening to anyone that I love. And I'm not saying that she should have like jumped in or anything because, I mean, you just do what you do. You don't ever think your person is going to end up murdered.
Yeah. But also, like, isolating people, we see this so many times in so many true crime cases. It's like a tactic that they use. They want to cut you off from your support system. It's also what, like, cults do. That's why they cut everybody off, and you have to be fully reliant on that person. It's part of their manipulation tactics.
And so one day, I think it was in January, Maria's daughter had a dance competition near New Orleans and asked if they could stay at Jessica's house instead of like staying at a hotel or something so they could hang out. And initially, Jessica and Justin said yes, but just a few days before, Jessica messaged Maria and said, "Hey, I need to talk to you about this weekend. I'm hiding in the bathroom right now so Justin doesn't hear me. We've been fighting for the past 3 days about everything. He's threatening to kick me out, put me in jail, he's hit me, it's bad. He told me you guys can't come or it's gonna get worse for me. Lo, I'm so sorry. I know it's last minute and I feel awful. I don't know what to do. I can recommend somewhere that's reasonable and nice. The Beat on Canal. We stay there a lot or used to. Lo, I'm scared." And Lo is just a nickname that she gave Maria, but as you can tell, it was pretty bad.
I just pictured if I ever got a message sent to me like that from any of my friends, what I would do. If you're locked in your bathroom, and that I don't even know how I would react to that. Like, I'd probably call the police right away.
Yeah. And hopefully, wherever we're at, if this day ever comes and we have to save someone, hopefully that police department takes us seriously.
Because this one definitely did not.
Mm-mm.
We have a lot of pent-up rage towards NOPD. We'll get to that in a little bit later on.
Yes.
So, Jessica was super scared that if she did break things off with Justin, that she would never be able to see her kids again. But she was also afraid that she wouldn't be able to provide for herself. According to her, Justin threatened that he would use all of his resources, which he claimed he had these resources. It makes me so mad when he keeps calling them his assets, his resources. Mm-hmm. He said that he had these special op friends in the military that would kill her if she tried to leave.
Yeah, like, had her so scared because, like, she received disability checks because I think it's because she had fibromyalgia. I don't know that there could have been something else. But, she had, like, a disability check mailed to her every month, and she was literally scared that no matter where she would go, they would track her bill, like her check, and find her because she thought he had people that high up and dangerous.
Special op friends in the military. I don't know, that's crazy to me. But she always said that if she ever was to get away, it would have to be, like, they said, the great escape. Like, she would have to literally, like, run off secretly, like, make a big scene. She couldn't just get up and leave. And Maria, which is her best friend, said that Jessica used to be a very independent girl, and that was the hardest part for her to see her and Justin together because she used to be so independent, and now she was so reliant on Justin. It was like she was completely changed.
Yeah. So then we arrive at the day of the disappearance, which was August 12th of 2019. And according to Gracie, Jessica spent most of that day cleaning the house. And this could have been her preparing to make her big escape. And Jessica had called Maria 3 times, and she was frantic and afraid, and she asked Maria to come get her and that she would tell her everything when she got there. But Maria wasn't able to just drop everything and go get her right away because she lived in Alabama and Jessica is in New Orleans. And she also had to get her kids from school that day and had no one else to go get them. So they made a plan to where Maria was going to go get Jessica the next morning after she dropped her kids off at school. And Maria suggested to her that she call the police, but Jessica didn't. And the next morning, or actually no, that night, the last text message was Jessica saying, "Okay, just hang on. I don't know what's going to happen when I get home."
She said that Justin had some time to sleep now, maybe calm down, so she kind of wanted to talk to him and see how things were now that he was able to rest.
But the next morning, there were no calls from Jessica and no response when Jessica tried to call or text her. And then the next day, August 14th, Maria gets a message from Jessica's Facebook, and it's Justin. And this conversation is where things get real.
Alright, do you want me to be Justin and you be Maria? And we can read these texts out?
Yes.
Alright. So, I'm gonna be Justin here. Is Jess with you? Grace and I are worried, with about 7 question marks.
Keep going, the next
Oh,
one
there is.
too.
If so, that's fine. We just don't know where she is, and Grace can't handle stress like this right now.
No, she's not. When was the last time you spoke to her?
About noon today, and she left everything here. Cars, key, ID, money.
What about her phone?
Here too. Effing weird. Worried she's worried. She's never done this. I have no idea. Checked everything and everyone I know.
Okay, well, I'm sending the police over there.
Okay, you're gonna freak Grace out, but...
If Jonathan came home from work and all my stuff was here and the kids didn't know where I was, he would already be talking to the police.
I know how to file a missing persons report. Do you think I hurt her or something? The police can't do anything until 24 hours. She's an adult. I'm checking hospitals and jails now. Called hospitals and both jails and not any of them. Called police and missing persons is 24 hours after last seen to file a report. I have got to be missing something. I'm about to go full out on social media and every other asset I have to find out my wife is safe. I have a child throwing up and needs to know her mom's okay. Here's the missing persons report. If you know where she is and that she's okay, I would appreciate you telling me before all the world knows our personal problems. This is really messing Grace up, not to mention other people too.
If she left because you're an asshole to her, I'm 100% supportive of her doing that. The problem I'm having is I'm the person she would call, and I haven't heard from her since Monday. So either some random person in this big dangerous city you live in has taken my friend, or you lost your shit because she was trying to leave, from my point of view. Because honestly, I can't even name one single other friend that she has left. It doesn't make sense that she would leave and not tell me something.
You're right, as always. It's all about you. Thanks for helping her and us in this.
Don't even. If I hear anything from her, I'll be sure to let you know she's safe, for Grace's sake.
Plenty human of you.
And then, eventually, after some time, Maria says, "Any word yet? I noticed some videos posted by her account Friday."
Do you still have more text messages from there? That's the
Oh. And then Justin just said, "I was trying to keep Grace's spirits up. I didn't know that they posted. That's why I'm not effing with Facebook." And then that's it. That's all I had.
So, a couple things about this exchange. First of all, Justin is acting sus AF. Like, first of all, it aggravates him that he's messaging her off of Jessica's Facebook in the first place. I don't know why that's a thing. Maybe he wasn't friends with Maria on Facebook. But he, like, immediately starts playing the victim right away.
Yeah, and the part where, like, he keeps saying, it's 24 hours for the police report, but, like, I cannot stress you enough. After all these years of true crime being such a popular topic, you do not have to wait any amount of time to file a missing persons report.
I don't know where, like, that myth, like, ever came from either.
Probably the fact that police departments are lazy and they don't alert anybody, really, when they get missing people reports.
We need to have a new system for how missing persons reports happens, because there's every single case I feel like has some type of issue with this being filed.
And I get, like, they would probably be overflowed with, like, kids that go missing for a few hours and return and, you know, like, little stuff like that.
Yeah.
But honestly, who cares? If you're having to have more cops help moms find their kids that got lost playing on the block or something, like, so be it.
Yeah.
That's what our tax money is for. Let's have some better, more thoughtful cops in the field.
But also, so Maria doesn't even, like, say anything pointing to the fact that Justin did something to her. And Justin immediately comes out and says, "What, do you think I did something to her? Or do you think I hurt her or something?"
Yeah, he's automatically trying to just, like, defend himself in any way.
And she really wasn't coming at him. So then after that, she starts, I guess, being a little bit on the offense, because now he's already made it weird and basically said that he might have done something.
Yeah. And August 15th, dispatch sent out 2 dispatch cars to the house, and Justin was acting very weird and suspicious, and police were kind of picking up on it, because there's, like, dispatch audio of the cops talking.
Yeah.
And, they were just saying, like, he was talking about his dog, like just weird shit, like not making any sense, not being too worried. And since a welfare check was done, they would have to send someone else out to see about Jessica being missing. That's the system that like is so messed up. Like, because NOPD said first we have to send someone out for a welfare check, and since she wasn't there, now we can send some police out because she's missing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Also, he kept like Justin was name dropping all the different like police officers from NOPD that he was like friends with and knew while they were doing that, and that kind of makes him look guilty too. So let me just throw that out there.
So on August 22nd, Jessica's sisters Amanda and Audra, with their cousin Doug, went to New Orleans to talk to detectives. But before meeting with them, they decided to have a look around Jessica's Lakeview neighborhood, which is near City Park, for those of you that are kind of familiar with the area. So they could like organize a future search party. While they were looking around, they had the windows down, and around the streets of Kenilworth and Orleans, they smelled something bad. So they pulled over because Doug is actually, I don't know what he does as a profession, but he knows what decaying bodies smell like.
Yeah.
And so they were alerted, they go out and they check, and sure enough, they had found Jessica's body just 2.5 blocks from her house near the Interstate 610 overpass near a wood line in City Park. And they said about 15 to 20 cops came out. She was just laid out by the trees, not buried or anything. She was clothed though, so at least it wasn't like she was just out there without clothes or anything. Like, but still, horrible. They overheard, like her family overheard an officer say that it was a homicide, but still continued to not treat it as such, which is interesting.
So I need you guys to really get a picture of this scene here. So there was no like formal search happening for Jessica. And a lot of this was because they didn't like fully even believe that she was like a missing person yet. So the family had to take it upon themselves to do all this searching. And
like,
this is like...
They didn't even have the decency to send out a few cars throughout that week and a half to just search the area vaguely, because just the most minor search, they would have found her.
The body wasn't hidden. It was laying in plain daylight. And just imagine your family looking for you and then coming upon your dead body. Like, I cannot even imagine what that family went through when they just... You see, like, your family member you're looking for his dead body. That is so rough.
You have so many questions, no answers, and it's just gotta feel awful. And, like, her body was already badly decomposed because it was August. It was the heat of New Orleans.
Yep.
It was probably 90-degree weather. And, like... They say that they possibly even broke one of her ribs moving her when the coroner came out to get her body, but...
The family doesn't believe that was the cause.
No.